When you get ready to plant your garden, do you ever wonder if you have everything that you need to plant? Have you tried heirloom tomatoes? In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 of my favorite heirloom tomatoes to grow in the garden. Now, I have to be honest, I've only grown 3 of these. 2 are new finds that I have found this year that I want to plant in my garden. So, leave your favorite varieties of heirloom tomatoes in the comments below. And while you're doing that, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Hi, it's Gary with Successful Gardens, and today we're going to talk about heirloom tomatoes. Now, growing up, I know that there's some of those tomatoes I just miss the flavors from that my grandmother had. It's been a long time since I planted a garden with her, but those memories still linger. I always am after that elusive tomato flavor that in my mind I've conjured up to think that I've got to find that that missing tomato. So I've started to play with heirloom tomatoes. I shouldn't say play with, I've started to grow heirloom tomatoes in my garden. They don't look like regular tomatoes, but that's all right. They don't have to be that perfect round slicing red tomato, because with heirlooms you will get some different colored varieties of tomatoes, so it's always fun to see exactly what's going to grow. The first heirloom tomato that I want to share is the pineapple. Not the pineapple that grow in Hawaii, but the pineapple types of tomatoes. Most of these were developed or grown in Europe, Belgium area. The classic is the good old pineapple. Yes, it's going to be yellow fruit, yellow with some red streaks in it. This is a 90-day indeterminate type, so it's one of the longer varieties of tomatoes. You have to wait all summer long to harvest that pineapple. But how fun is it to tell your neighbors that you've grown a pineapple in your garden? It's quite large. It can actually grow up to a pound. I haven't I haven't grown the full pound one, but I've gotten close. But it's wonderful in fresh salads. Eating by itself always makes a great sandwich. But it has that classic flavor, that tanginess, that tartness that just kind of gets you. This is one that could remind you of Grandma's garden. All right, the next one is called Cherokee Purple. Now this is a fairly common one. Cherokee Purple is it's not quite a pound, it's 12 to 14 ounces in size. Off of the stem, it usually has some broad shoulders to it, but it's a dark red, almost purple in color, and the shoulders will usually stay green in color. It's, instead of being a round globe shape, it is a flatter. It reminds me of a raft, one of those water rafts. But the Cherokee Purple is one of the best and most common heirloom varieties of tomatoes that you'll find in the greenhouse. When I mentioned that they're in the greenhouse, these are seeds that are almost in every catalog too. If you go into a seed catalog, look in under heirloom varieties of tomatoes, you'll find most of these types. And so they don't have to be grown in a greenhouse, and you just buy the plant, but you're more than welcome to do that. Or you can buy the seed and start your own plants. And that's usually what I do. Now, the third heirloom tomato that I like to grow is called Black Krim. Now, I mentioned Cherokee Purple was dark red, almost purple. Well, the Black Krim, we start almost purple and go to black, just like the name indicates. But this heirloom tomato has Russian heritage. It's grown in the Crimea area of the Black Sea region, and so it's an old garden standard. Deep dark reddish purple, and can grow, have some greenish shoulders to it. But this is a little smaller than the Cherokee Purple. It usually stays between the 8 to 12 ounce range, but it has a sweeter flavor to it. People describe, I have a hard time tasting a smoky flavor, but that's one of the flavors that is often mentioned in seed catalogs, that it has a smoky taste to it. But it's not as sharp or tangy as some of the other tomatoes. It usually is always a contender in farmer market tasting tests, or state fair tasting taste testing trials. But Black Krim is a wonderful sweet heirloom tomato to try. Giant Belgium is the next heirloom tomato I want to talk about now. As the name says, giant, you imagine a giant tomato, and that's what you can get when you grow the Giant Belgium. Imagine a softball, but the Giant Belgium is going to be about that size. In regular growing conditions, it can weigh between 1 pound and 2 pounds. But the record weight of a Giant Belgium is 5 pounds. It's kind of hard to imagine a 5-pound tomato, but it is definitely one of those one slice wonders that fills a sandwich if you like tomato sandwiches. But it's a solid, meaty slice of tomato. It makes wonderful for a sandwich or in salads or in a meal itself. What would you do with 5 pounds of tomato, especially if it was just in one tomato? The other thing about the Giant Belgium is it is sweeter. It's on the sweeter side of the flavors. It's less acidic, so it doesn't have that bite or that real strong tang. And so an interesting fact about the Giant Belgium is they claim that it's one of the sweetest tomatoes, and it's so sweet that it has been made and used in making wine. I don't know what I would think about tomato wine, so I'll leave that up to you. A new variety that I'm going to be growing this year is called Carbon. Carbon would indicate black, right? Well, Carbon is also known as the black pineapple. Now, I mentioned the regular pineapple heirloom tomato being bright and yellow with some red streaks. Well, the Carbon, or the black pineapple, this one doesn't take as long as the regular pineapple. This is about a 76 to 80 day tomato, so it's almost 2 weeks earlier than the regular pineapple. It's almost 2 weeks earlier than the regular pineapple tomato. The heirloom taste was the winner of heirloom tomato tasting contest at Cornell University, and it is one that is uniformly black or deep dark purple in color throughout the whole tomato. You don't have to worry about bright pink specks or anything like that. It is truly uniform in its color. Highly productive, but they're on the smaller side of heirloom tomatoes. It will produce roundish type of fruit like the pineapple, but they will be smaller in size, in about 10 to 12 ounces. But an interesting thing about the Carbon is it's also crack resistant, so it doesn't crack. Sometimes when you overwater heirloom tomatoes and you get that heat, strong heat days of late summer, some tomatoes will grow too fast and the skins will crack, and a lot of people don't like that. And so, but the Carbon is an heirloom that is resistant to cracking. So with that, what are some of your favorite heirloom tomatoes? There's so many names out there. There's Mortgage Lifter, there's Brandywine. I'm not a fan of the Brandywine tomato. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's because everybody likes it and I want to try something new. What are some of your varieties of heirloom tomatoes that you like to grow or that you want to grow? I would love to hear what varieties you are going to grow this year. Below, I'll leave some links to some of the tomato seed companies that I buy my seed from. And so hopefully this short video has inspired you to grow some heirloom tomatoes. Hit that like button. I really appreciate that. That lets me know that you found this video helpful, and please consider subscribing to this channel. And if you have already, thank you. This is Gary with Successful Gardens, and remember, let's get growing.